Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tech-Mex podcast. I'm your host, Eric Ramirez, and I've got my awesome co-host here, Mando Gomez.
I'm here, man. It's like you're putting like a Eric Ramirez, pulling your radio station.
Got my radio voice on. Well, hey, it looks like you survived the first week of COVID, so good news there. I'm glad you're back.
It's like this is the third time. No COVID is gonna get me. No?
Well, you made it to episode 25, number 25. Today we've got lots of interesting news, and let's get into it. Let's go. Dale.
Dale. All right, so I went to the stats of YouTube, right, and trying to see how are we doing on our pod. Man, we are growing very fast.
I expect nothing less.
So, yeah, thank you everyone for all of the comments. We read them all. We answer to all of the comments, so keep doing that. Probably we'll start being able to do a segment on some of the comments that people are leaving. But yeah, just looking into even some of the shorts, I noticed that last week the lucid dream did well, which we kind of didn't expect that. But what's your thought there? Why do you think that some of these topics are doing better than other ones?
Well, okay, so first of all, some of the topics that we got, or some of the comments that we got from the lucid dreaming, were kind of interesting, right? They're saying like, "Oh man, like imagine that, like your job's making you work even at night through your in your dreams." And then someone else even mentioned, "All right, people are going to be streaming ads into our dreams next thing we know." But hey, that might be an interesting revenue model. You might get Tex-Mex ads while you're sleeping. That could be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that our producer Katie, she was like choosing some of the different images, and a couple people were asking me how are we choosing those, right? For the short, and I think that it's just sometimes it's just different ideas and topics that from culture. Are you familiar with Rick and Morty?
Oh yeah, the cartoon, right?
It is a show that is it's kind of like you have your old school like The Simpsons, right? And you have then South Park, and you have like Family Guy. So I think that these guys they took it to a different level. It's a very fast show, right? So and a lot of information packed like in 25 minutes or whatever. And I think that right now they are in season 7. But last season they literally had one episode where they start talking about lucid dreaming, and it's just funny because in some point Rick, which is the grandpa, is trying to create a machine that basically allows them to are spending their time. Like in his case, he wanted to have a six pack. So the night, Rick, he was able just to work out during the night. And obviously the whole family like, Grandpa, I want one. I want one. I want my person to also have a six pack and the other one to learn something. And I think that they wanted to play an instrument, right? That would be awesome for sure.
I mean, for sure. That's like when I first started lucid dreaming, what I wanted to do was learn how to play the piano in my sleep. That's like, okay, I'll be able to remember the muscle memory of playing, so it should work. Man, but I could never get into lucid dreaming. That's the thing. That was the hardest part, is actually getting your mind into it. But yeah, I think it'd be awesome. It should work,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Why not?
The funny part on that episode, though, is that they call them the night, and it's themselves, right? It's like literally, it's just themselves, but it's sleepy. They
Night
start
Mondo.
revolting, so it's like I still will have the same problem than them because actually they revolted because they did the dishes, right? Like rinse the dishes. So yeah, and that's where it started the whole mayhem in the family because the night family didn't want to do any of the chores. And then the night folks like they literally wanted to stop all of that. So yeah, nice episode.
Oh man. Well, hey, we have hope for the lucid dreaming. I hope we get it. Make us double productive, man. That's what I'm talking about. It's not just all about flying in your dreams, like ooh, It's not.
It's so many hours, man. Like 7, 8 hours. Just it feels wasted, right? But yeah, it would be nice if you can kind of use it to maybe try to control it or learn something else, piano or whatever. That would be cool. Very very
I
cool.
know that would be cool. Well, speaking of learning stuff, oh man, I was learning how to cook a brisket this last weekend, right? It actually turned out okay. But
Uh-huh.
for those of y'all that that missed us last week, just to let y'all know, I bought this new Traeger grill, and I was so excited. It was awesome. It ended up being broken, like the motherboard. I spent so many hours with customer service, y'all. By the way, like I get for the customer service reps out there, like you deal with like lots of people that don't know what they're doing, and you have to be like methodical. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. But oh my goodness, I talked to 4, 5 people. Every single one of them made me repeat the steps. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And I got fed up, and I was like, yeah, I carried out on them. I was like, let me talk to you. And I got the dealer in on it too, where I bought the actual grill. So I told him, hey, they're pissing me off. Like, I don't know, do something, like get me my grill working, because I want to make a brisket. So anyways,
Mhm.
I ended up getting like a Bluetooth thermometer, and that made it so I didn't really have to rely on the built-in stuff on the Traeger. But man, this barbecue ended up being pretty good. We had a party over the weekend for my mother-in-law's 65th birthday. Happy birthday. Shout out to Mimi. But
That's how you
yeah,
call her, Mimi.
yeah. Well, that's her name.
Okay, shout out to Mimi.
Yeah. And so, yeah, no, it turned out really good. I did the secret, like, hey, did you like the brisket? What do you think about the brisket? Not, they didn't know I made it. They're like, oh, yeah, it's good. So, hey, I call it a success. Traeger better fix my damn grill, because I get another brisket next week. So hopefully I get it working.
All right.
It's a lot of sleepless nights if you don't have it all set up.
We're gonna have to geek out here. So explain us how do you did it? Like, do you get the meat? What kind of meat, right? Like, did you went to? Yeah, tell us the whole process.
Okay, like on this brisket, okay, there's different levels of brisket that you can get. I ended up getting a Wagyu brisket. I think it's called a Kashi brisket.
It's
Very
for the humble
fatty.
people.
Yeah, the humble people. Okay, so brisket is like $150 brisket, but I don't even know how many pounds. It was
Dude,
it was a big boy. It was a
it
big
is a
boy.
very good price. Usually in a restaurant, $50 to $80 for an ounce of
Yeah.
of that
Well,
type of meat.
I gotta connect. So like that's now. Actually, I guess the I think the brand the called Heart brand, the people that make this brisket,
Like the
it's a really
heart
good brisket.
or
Yeah,
heart.
like heart, corazon.
Okay, okay.
Heart brand brisket. They sell a bunch of different meats, but yeah, these guys, great brisket. I didn't know what I was doing exactly on the whole cook and everything, but I think if you start off with a good quality meat, it makes the whole process a little bit easier. And kind of if you mess up a little bit here or there, you're okay. So when I got this brisket, first thing you're supposed to do is trim it down, anyways. So I was able to trim it down. This brisket in general came trimmed up really, really well. So I didn't have to do too much with it. Plus, it's like backyard brisket. That's what they call it, right? It's doing backyard barbecue. It's not like restaurant style. It's not like competition style. This is just for me. So I just wanted to make sure it was going to cook evenly and things
How do
like
you know
that.
like
So
how much fat you need to leave?
usually like you tend to do maybe a 1/4 inch, but a fat. Now this was a Wagyu brisket, so it had a little bit of extra fat. So I did do a little bit of extra trimming, but I just wanted to make sure like some of the ends weren't going to curl up and things like that, because that hurts the cooking process. You'll get like some fat that'll pool or puddle up, and that'll hurt your bark and things like that. So you don't want to do that. So you just want to kind of trim it in general, just to make it nice and lean, and they call it aerodynamic. You want to like a sexy brisket there. So
Sexy brisket.
a sexy brisket. Yeah,
That
briskets
should
are
be your
sexy.
Burning Man playa name.
Sexy brisket on the way.
They explain the audience what is the bark. As I'm understanding, it's like the outside, right? Like the crispiness of the.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole point of like barbecuing in a smoker is like you want to develop this bark. There's a lot of flavor in that bark. That's where you use a different wood. So the Traeger, the one that I have, it's a pellet smoker. So you actually feed it little, they look like little rabbit food pellets, but there's actually wood pellets, and it's a controlled fire. So this smoker is basically like an outdoor oven that smokes your food. That's basically what it is. So you're
Do you
basically
choose
cooking it
like
in an
a
oven.
hickory or any like
I,
what
I
type of? Oh, doesn't
used
matter.
I can use There are some woods that pair better with certain things, but on this one I use Traeger Signature Blend, which is a blend of maybe 4 or 5 different woods. So oak
That's
hickory,
how they
you're gonna
call it,
get
right? It's just like the scraps of all of the wood.
exactly. Hey man, that's a pretty good business model. I'm sure that's what they're doing. They're just getting the
For
scraps
sure.
and pooping it out. That's what a lot of on Reddit and stuff like that they call it. I got my pooper going, and which is their because they look like little poop
They look like
pellets.
a little like a mice poop. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, so yeah, that's what I did. I trimmed it up. I did an overnight cook, so I set it 200 degrees, put a top rack on the Traeger, set it, forget it. I put my little thermometer in there just to make sure it wasn't going to overcook or anything. I set it to one to alert me at 175 internal temp of the brisket. Didn't reach that for a while, so I woke up and it was still good, but I was running out of pellets, so I had to put some pellets in there just to make sure it kept going. Once it hit 175, I did brisket paper. Lots of people do it differently, and by the way, I did fat side up. A lot of people have their own way of doing it, but I did fat side up in the grill. Took it out, wrapped it, stuck my thermometers back in, stuck it back in the grill, set it to 275 to get it up to about 203 temperature. So it really wasn't too bad. By the way, I use a meat church rub. I don't know if for y'all barbecue people out there, y'all probably seen Matt Pittman. He's from Meat Church. I use one of his rubs. I think it's called Holy Cow. So I use that one
Holy
on
cow.
Holy Cow. It was pretty good. It came out great. So in the end, that it got devoured. I'm telling you, people loved it. So I would definitely recommend get as good of a meat as you can. I think that Wagyu brisket, this was my first smoked brisket. I've done one in the oven before, but this is
Mhm.
my first smoked one. So I was experimenting here and there, and I wasn't sure with like thermometer placement. So I had like several thermometers actually just to double check I didn't overcook it or undercook it. You want to make sure the flat part of the brisket is going to be tender. It all came out great though. I think the Traeger does actually make it super easy because you don't have to
Mhm.
watch, the fire going too high or too low, things like that.
Yeah.
As long as it's pooping out pellets, you're good to go. So it keeps it stable, and it's basically like an outside oven. And that smoke though gets you really good flavor.
So my daughter, she's in a band, and her teacher, shout out to Mr. Munoz, the guy always he said that he's always talking about food. He said that it will take about 12 hours. Is that right? Did it took you about 12 hours?
Between the overnight I did, but it was probably like maybe 9 hours there that I ended up doing that part. And then, I wrapped it and put it back in. Yeah, another 3 hours. And then after that, after I took it out, I rested it for another 2 hours. So it's like a total of 14 hours if you include the rest that I did. And the rest, that's what they say when you pull it out of the grill and you
Mhm.
take it down from the 200 degrees to 203 degrees back down to 140, which is your cutting temperature. You want or 140, 150 in that
Mhm.
range. You don't want to cut it too early. If you cut it too early, all of the juices are going to escape. So bringing the temp back down gives a chance for everything to reabsorb, and it gets a little bit better, and you don't lose out on all that flavor.
Hmm. Okay. Will you buy it
So
again? Like
it's a lot
the
of work.
your
I'm going to do it
yeah.
again.
Hmm.
Well, would I buy what again? The Traeger?
Yes.
Oh, that's up for debate. There's lots of other products out there, so it's not like I'm married to Trigger or anything. I just, I know Mondo, you've got one too. You said lots of good things about us. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
that sounds really good.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
like for us we cook fish, chicken, like 2 3 times a week we use them. So, but yeah, I think that I don't know. I started to think that is your luck. Your Tesla doesn't work. Your
what's
grill
going
doesn't
on here?
work. Maybe you're too static.
Let me tell you, there's other things also. Like I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner or Thanksgiving lunch at my house also, and I have a really nice Thermador kitchen package, right? All the fridges, the double ovens, the warmers, everything, right? So I've got the double oven. The top oven is a steam oven, so we were actually cooking the turkey in the top oven, which is the steam oven. Cooks it really well, keeps it really juicy. It was awesome. Then it was like I wanted to keep some of the sides warm, so I turned on the bottom oven, keep warm. It didn't turn on. My bottom oven on Thanksgiving. I find out that my oven wasn't working. Sorry, Thermador, but y'all don't mess up because it's not. It's maybe a 3 year 3 years old.
Let,
This
let
oven
me
is
let
eight
me let
thousand
me ask you:
dollars. Like what?
did you connect it?
It's all,
See,
yeah, the top work. The top work. It's not like I was like, oh my goodness, it's like the Super Bowl event here, and my oven doesn't turn on. I was like, come on, Thermador, what's going on here?
okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of service people here. We'll see. You're right. You're onto something there.
Yeah, and I think that it always happens to tech, right? Like it doesn't matter. I think that is the older tech, it had less electronics, right? Like less problems. And now it's like you cannot even use it, you like fix it yourself. Like you have to change all of the board, like even with the cars, right? Like now all the cars are like electronic and everything. It's very hard to fix things because everything is like literally embedded within the computers of each of the devices. So I'm sorry, Ramirez, you want to have to.
And you know what? And honestly, that's so hard for me because I'm the type that like I like to get my hands dirty. I like to get in there, figure out what's broken. Like that's always been me. Like I want to fix it. Like I want to get in there myself, but it's all harder and harder because these integrated circuits are in these things. I'm not gonna bust out my just start soldering stuff.
Yep.
Don't want to break it worse.
Cool. Now, talking about technology, though, let's jump into our next topic, which is more AI. So we have been discussing about OpenAI and which Sam Altman, right? Now, Google is coming back with Gemini.
What did we
What is
say
your?
last time? Is Google dead?
They're trying to, they're trying to survive here. So, so you know what happened, right? With their demo. So they basically it looks good, but there's a lot of people that is saying that it's fake. So I guess you you fake it till you make it, right?
You gotta fake it till you make it, Google. I mean, so for those people that didn't follow what happened with Gemini, you want to give them just the high level, what's going on?
Yeah. So
This week?
basically, you're seeing the fight off between all of these titans, and it always happens where with technology you have the big companies. You have your Google, your Microsoft. Actually, the CEO did a nice play, right? Which is like, well, we don't need to invent it. Maybe just literally make an agreements and contracts with OpenAI and then just put it there, right? So well played, Microsoft. Well played. And to Google now is like, man, like they're eating our lunch. So they needed to come up because Bard, if you have tried, it still is good, but compared to the other algorithms, it's like no, it's not that great. And now they came back with this algorithm that is Gemini that they did some of their own testing that they said that it was the best of all of
Yeah.
the AIs. And yeah, they did a demo, and basically that's what a lot of people on the internet is saying that is fake.
Yeah, and by the way, so they were very thorough in the benchmarking they said they did. So basically they did line by line on like, I don't know, 15 different scenarios, and they said ChatGPT has this score, 75%, but they say, but Gemini's got 80%. And just down the line, one by one, Gemini was like supposed to be awesome on every single score. So you're thinking, everyone's thinking here, okay, Gemini must be really, really good here because they're saying Chat GPT 4 ain't shit, and they're like Gemini is where it's at. That's how they start this off, and so they had this big announcement this week, right? And that's where they did this demo. The demo was pretty good. Did you watch it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What were your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's like the previous one. Did you watch the one for the logs where the actual bot is calling a business and is like a
Oh,
voice? And
yeah.
this demo is like several years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my worry with sometimes with Google that they come up with these demos and they don't release these products. So I want to play. And actually, when Gemini came, like I started to literally testing it out, and I can tell you, I still like more the answer from ChatGPT versus Gemini, right? So yeah, I still gonna go with OpenAI, which is just ChatGPT. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like it better. I mean, you can try yourself, but you'll see.
Yeah. Well, maybe these AI chatbots, they all have their own personalities, I guess, right? So maybe we just like the personality a little bit better of ChatGPT right now. ChatGPT for a long time. Y'all did some school stuff together, and ChatGPT helped you out with some work stuff. You developed this bond already. You don't got time for all these new friends, right? We don't got time for Gemini there, but I haven't used Gemini yet, but from the demo, honestly, it looked really cool. Like for those that haven't seen it yet, I encourage y'all to go check it out. But just to give you like a high level feel for it, it was basically like it was like this kind of video where were filming downwards and they were doing basically stuff with the hands, and Gemini is able to view video and interpret the video. So it was doing like little things like, what am I holding here? It's like a rubber ducky or whatever. And Gemini is saying, oh, that's a rubber ducky. And they're like, do you think it can swim? And it was just kind of answering you, and it was kind of making jokes even. So Gemini does have its own little personality here. And so it was pretty impressive how it was, it could write poems, it could write different things, it could mix music. It was doing all these really cool things that, yeah, this is what you want an AGI to be able to do. But there's some scandal that came out of it, is that like, you know, it wasn't really truthful, or parts of it were fake. Do you know what they were saying, or did you hear about that as well?
No, only that it was fake. And when you go to Reddit, it's just a lot of people is saying that it's fake. So always take it with a grain of salt. Like we are just telling you things that they are coming out like literally last week, so it's super fresh, right? So we'll probably see a little more information as it's coming out. But yeah, it's one of those things that if a lot of people is saying that it's fake, maybe there's some truth to it.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, in any case, I think competition is always going to be good for the end user, which is us. So I'm glad to see that Google did have a rebuttal to ChatGPT and all that stuff that's coming out, and maybe this timing that they had, they said, well, let's strike, let's make an announcement right now that there's all this mess with ChatGPT, Sam Altman, and the firing and
Hmm.
rehiring, all that stuff. Maybe they said, this is our chance, let's get something out real quick. But it wasn't quite ready, so they maybe did some PowerPoint tricks here and there just to make it look a little bit better than it really is.
Yeah, and 2 weeks ago I was in Vegas, right, for the AWS reInvent event. Man, I was very impressed with Amazon, how quickly they were able to come up with the product for AI. I mean, remember, AI is only a year, right? It's like meaning the ChatGPT, they released it on November last year. So very surprised how, like, because a lot of the conferences and the workshops, they were about kind of how do you productionize and in a scalable way AI. They have a product that they call it Bedrock, which is basically if you're a programmer, and it's kind of the foundation of the infrastructure, how to use in AWS, which stands for Amazon Web Services, and it allows you to utilize AI very, very quickly. Probably they just took about maybe 6 months to develop that, which is very short amount of time compared to because it's moving so fast. Even in the conferences, they were saying, "Hey, this is what we have, but it might change very quickly, right?" So they're adapting very well. Shout out to Amazon as well.
Yeah, I mean, all these players know kind of what's at stake here, so they know this is where they're making their biggest investments. They want to be, you know, uh, near the top, as close as they can be, because people that get left behind, they can get they can die. Like we were saying, we made that proposition. Hey, is Google going to make this? But
Yeah.
I think they've got to. I think Google has to. They've got to make the call. Like, hey, we need to make this switch hard and do this instead of kind of trying to hang on to the old and trying to introduce the new. They need to say, no, this is a direction. We need to make sure we go full force on this, so to kind of stay relevant. So that's something they should be trying to do.
They'll become one of those stories like what happened to Kodak. Kodak had the opportunity to actually start going into digital cameras, and they had the technology, and guess what? Their executives like, well, we're gonna stop actually selling film, and that's how we make the money. And like, do you have a Kodak? No, right? I mean, they lost the battle, right? So the same thing happened with Blockbuster. At some point, Blockbuster could buy Netflix for pennies, right? Like super cheap.
Yep.
Once again, it's like they lost the battle because, like, well, they who wants to order it? The DVDs, like on that time, it was to be able to send them to your house directly, but they didn't saw that actually it was coming digital. And again, they made their launch. And I think that that's a crucial a tipping point for Google, where it could happen something very, very similar. It's like they reinvent themselves. If they don't literally disrupt themselves, similar problem. They probably gonna have to another company, whether it's even Microsoft, pair with OpenAI, they will be eating their lunch.
For sure. Yeah. Well, speaking of disruptors, Tesla and the Cybertruck. So everyone saw the news about the Cybertruck coming out. Massive game changer for those that are looking for EVs and a truck, right? I think there was a lot of hoopla around the pricing of it. Like it came in way more expensive than what they had advertised 4 years ago, with maybe some less feature sets. So people are kind of recalibrating to, is it really still a good value, or is it not as great of a value? But I think a lot of people are seeing that what Tesla ended up doing was, they took a look at the market segment. They said, well, we can be a little bit cheaper than like the Rivian or the F-150, make sure the range is kind of in line, and just to make sure that they were kind of within the ranges of all these little different things. But, there's a lot of things that really keep the Cybertruck at the forefront. Now, here's the thing, though. The price thing has been like a big sticking thing for a lot of people, because they're like, oh, I just need 40K and I can get me a Cybertruck. Well, that's way out the window, right? It's 61K. Well, now they have come out with what's called the Cybertruck Foundation Edition, which is basically Foundation Edition, right? It sounds so fancy. Well, it's basically the Cyber Beast version, or your tri-motor, but you get all of the features and accessories and all of that, but they're charging like 120K for it now. It's like, okay, yeah, just another 20K just to get like floor mats in your truck. They have a little logo also. This is like Foundation something or other on there. But yeah, so that stuff is going out there. Hey, by the way, did you see the text that came out this week for Tesla people?
You mentioned to me that there was like a discount, right? That you're getting. So tell the audience what happened.
I guess Tesla's trying to throw people a bone here. The people that did the reservations like 4 years ago, right? Like initially, a lot of people started getting text messages. I got this text message. I said, oh, I got a text from Tesla. They said something about Cybertruck. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm able to like start configuring my Cybertruck. I got super excited. I'm like, yes, it's happening. But no, they offered a $1,000 coupon for me to go buy another Tesla vehicle. I was like, look, between like the Model Y that we got and the Tesla insurance that sucks, I don't know if I'm ready to buy another one. I'm holding out for the Cybertruck. I'm going to make sure that one happens. But I don't know what I don't know about spending another $1,000. But I think they got lots of people's hopes up with that $1,000 text. People were thinking, oh man, I get to configure my Cybertruck already. Didn't happen.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that was happening, oh man, like Elon is in the news every single week, man. So now this week is like there is a class action lawsuit in insurance. So I think that you were not that off when you were complaining like a couple of weeks ago.
I told y'all Tesla insurance sucks, and this kind of proves it. Okay, so like for those of y'all that don't remember my viral short the other time, is like, okay, I'm driving over to like Galveston. I'm in a good mood. I'm going to the beach, and it's like all of a sudden you hear ding dong. It's because I've got my autopilot on. Ding dong. It's like, oh my goodness, I cannot get over there in peace, because it's dinging me every time, and it's every time it dings, it's adding like $5 to your insurance bill. So if you get like 3 dings, it's going to be an extra $15, and it stays there. Like I don't know what their algorithm says in terms of bringing your price back down, but I will say my insurance for my SUV, I had a BMW before I had the Model Y. It went from $90 a month all the way up to like $265 a month for my Tesla insurance, just for the Model Y. That's it, right? That's a huge difference. So, I guess other people, this was happening to them also, and they got pissed off as well. Well, now this class action suit is saying basically Tesla is maybe artificially making your car go ding dong and charging you extra more. They're basically creating their own revenue stream and generating more and more revenue by raising people's insurance prices. But it's it's their whole ding dong system that dings you whenever you're using autopilot.
So there is no other vendor, like any other, like Geico or State Farm, that can allow you to have insurance?
Oh yeah, for sure. You can change. but it's not straightforward. Some people that don't offer Tesla insurance just because there's a lot of things like it's harder to fix or parts are expensive and whatever. There's a lot of reasons for it, but like the people that I used to have on my insurance, they didn't offer insurance for Tesla, so I had to switch. So I said, well, it'll be
Okay.
easy, just switch to Tesla
Yeah.
insurance. But you see how that's turning out.
And it's like at that point, it's like maybe try to switch back to a regular insurance company, right?
Yeah. I'll probably look into that. It's just a long list of things that I got to do, but that's probably one of the things that I'm looking at. So hey, if someone wants to cut me a good deal on insurance, let me know. Hit us up at Tex-Mex Podcast. Leave a comment. I'll return your call.
So did you
If
change
y'all
our
got
name
some.
now to Tex-Max?
I know, right?
All right. So I'm trying to build a brand here, man. Come on. All right. Now let's talking about a different segment. We're going to incorporate this segment. I think that this is a fun one. Billionaire Watch. So what do you think are all of these billionaires right now, man?
They've got such personalities, and it's just very interesting to me. Like, there's a lot of hate on them. They act very different than the ordinary people, so I can totally get that. But sometimes they just start doing weird things, and it's just kind of interesting to see. So we'll see. We're gonna keep an eye on the billionaires for y'all, just to let y'all know what they're up to. So speaking
So,
of, I saw Richard Branson. Did you hear the news?
no? What about it?
So all the billionaires have like their toy rockets or whatever, right? That they're
Sure.
sending into space, right? So Richard Branson has his Virgin Galactic, but theirs is a little bit different. I think they're trying to do like these flyover. It looks more like a large, like elongated jet, I guess,
Okay.
where people can view out the windows, and it does kind of more of like this like soft arc, so it gets you into space. You're in space for a little bit and then you come back down. It's like a 20-30 minute ride, something like that. Well, he says he stopped investing in it. He's like, I'm not investing in this the Starship Galactic anymore. Like, he's done with it. He's kind of, I guess, moving on. I'm sure they've got lots of different investors and things still going, but it's kind of weird that this came out and kind of announced it in this way.
Mhm.
You have any thoughts around it?
I mean, it is strange because a lot of these guys, it's like probably in the comics when you're kind of rich, like I don't know, like Batman, right? And Iron Man, you start becoming like a superhero. So I guess in real life, it's more like you start building like rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. This is weird. That maybe he just got bored, right, on doing that. So we'll see what he
Yeah.
will go into. Um, that's a strange one.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. I don't know what's coming next for Richard Branson there, but I thought maybe he just wanted to be part of the club. Like, what? Hey, Bezos has a rocket. I want a rocket too. And it just started off that way. But I think it was probably the other way around. Bezos is probably the more recent one. But
Yeah, I
anyways,
think that actually because he used to have like a Virgin airplanes or like
the airplanes
yeah,
and
yeah,
the
the airplane.
the boats, they have
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
it's pretty interesting though. Who's next?
let's do Mark Cuban. So I hear that basically he's quitting Shark Tank. I mean, it has been a while, right? I have no idea how many years they have been
Shark Tank. I don't know,
recording.
but
10 plus
maybe
years?
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, but Shark Tank was pretty successful. That's the only thing. I wonder how they're going to replace him there.
Well, we will have to find another type of very charismatic. In the beginning, it was very hard to be I mean, it's still very hard to be a billionaire, but in one point there was only like 1,200 billionaires. Like all of the
Mm.
billionaires, almost they knew each other because they were literally only those. But now you can hear, like you hear them like left and right, like coming billionaires. So inflation.
Right? Like there's been lots of we got a lot more, probably 10x the amount of
Yeah.
billionaires now. Well, okay, so I just googled it. Shark Tank, they did at least 11 seasons, it looks like. So I'm not sure if he was there from the very beginning, but that's a long run, and I
Hmm.
know he was there for a lot of them. So that's pretty interesting. Like, Cuban is getting out of Shark Tank, but also he's selling his basketball team to Dallas Mavericks, apparently. Or I don't know if he already did, but something going on there. Maybe he's like divesting of a lot of things. Maybe we've got a big project going on.
Hmm. You planning to buy the Maverick now?
Let's wait for Bitcoin to hit, 1 million, then we'll talk about it. Yeah,
All right.
it'd be pretty interesting. But look, so Mark Cuban, but there's some other rumors. Look, they're saying that Mark Cuban was trying to buy this town in Texas. I think they got a Mustang, Texas. Is that right? I mean, something like that. But they're thinking he's trying to maybe do something similar to like what, Elon is kind of building a town as well, right down there.
In Brownsville,
What's it called? Starship or
it's start
Star
something like that.
something?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe he's trying to do the same route. And recently, Mark has also started a prescription drug company as well, because he says, like, there's a bunch of scams that in our society right now, like insurance and like the healthcare industry. There's lots of things in there that people don't like with regards to how we pay and the insurance companies, and they're like boosting up prices. So Mark Cuban decided to do something about it. So he was trying to offer prescription drugs for, at least for like these very
The generic
popular
ones.
ones, generic ones, well known. So you could get them for like a few bucks, right? Instead of having to have insurance and still pay more than that, right?
Hmm.
So maybe he's going through like this transformation. Like there's something going through his mind. He's trying to figure out what he can do to help society. So he said maybe he needs more time, moving away from the Mavericks, moving away from Shark Tank. He's trying to decide what his next chapter in life is going to be.
Yeah. He can start calling them the Cubanites.
The Cubanites.
Cuban Bill and the Cubanites.
I think that'd be pretty cool, huh?
I don't know, man. I like more like Bezos' style. He's just like, fuck this, moving to Florida, let's just party. Like, finally, bro. It's like, man, it's like, unfortunate they had to do it with the girlfriend, right? Instead of his family over there. But yeah, that's what he's doing right now, Jeff Bezos. He
Yeah.
actually, it was a big deal because he was changing his homestead. So
Hmm.
he used to be in Washington, Seattle, which I mean, he's moving to another state that he doesn't have to pay income state tax, I guess. So it's not bad choice. So yeah, right now that's where Bezos is at the moment.
Probably makes sense. He went through that divorce recently, right? So he
Hmm.
there's half of he lost half of it there. He's probably trying to keep what he has left. So pretty interesting. And I'm sure there's still a lot that he's got left in that wallet of his
I
too.
don't think that they went 50 when they split up. I think that was more whatever, but still,
Yeah.
if it was like 150, maybe he still has like 100 billion, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he's doing fine, right? But hey, I mean, that's what we got on the Billionaire Watch. I mean, we'll keep y'all up to date about what's going on with them, because they're always up to something. So pretty interesting there.
yeah. So, man, BTC. Now let's talk about Bitcoin.
Pump it up, pump it up.
Pump it up, pump it up.
Bitcoin hit just about 45K, just shy of it, I think, but it's
Dana,
coming back down a little
Dana,
bit.
60 G's, baby.
We're on our way. We're on our way. But I
We're
mean,
on our way.
man, it's tripled since this, the start of the year. So it's pretty, it's signs. But like we've talked about, there's lots of things that are culminating all at the same time right now. So I think this is really just the beginning. It's not
I
financial
think that,
advice, by
yeah,
the way.
yeah, exactly. It's not financial advice to do this on the internet, but man, it's a heck of a ride, right? So I think that it will be very, very if we don't get the approval for the ETF.
I don't know if I would say funny as the word.
It will be funny, man. It's like it's one of
Oh
those things
man.
that's like, oh wow, but
Hey,
it,
hey,
it
hey.
is what it is. I think that
Don't
don't
mess with
miss
Bitcoin. Don't mess with Bitcoin.
Texas. So
Oh man.
guess what's the name for Fidelity's ETF? Take a guess.
I don't know. Fed.
Almost FBTC.
Oh man, how are they feeling about Bitcoin? I guess I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
I started to like them a little bit more.
That's
It
too
would be
funny.
better if it would be AVU BTC, right? But so yeah, they filed it this week. So right now, all of these institutions they are trying to file their own ETF. So I am curious which one it will be the one that will be the kind of one that is pulling most of the other ones, because you see the same on like a S&P 500 for the
Mhm.
baskets on the ETFs. You have the SPY and you have the Bank Tour, which is VOO. Um, they have different things, right? Like in the case of like Warren Buffett, he likes VOO because he says basically that less commissions, right? Things like that. So
Hmm.
uh, I'm talking about Warren Buffett, man, did you saw that Charlie
Oh
Munger?
yeah, Charlie Munger,
So
his buddy, gone.
yeah, man. So well, I mean, it's no news, right? It's like 99. So
Yeah, I mean, I would say he probably had a pretty good life, but
yep,
he lived it to the fullest. He was
dude.
on overtime already.
If I can get to 99 with the how lucid he was, how like and yeah, it's like a lot of wisdom from that guy. Even that he didn't like Bitcoin, that was the only miss.
Rat poison? Is that what was
He
it
called it
him
rat
or?
poison. So it's okay, Charlie. You cannot be perfect.
Oh man, but no, big in the industry. Of course, sad to see him go, but he did so much for. He tried to give good advice, sound advice for people that didn't quite know what to do. It's he gave everybody kind of some sage choices when it comes to investing in their money. So he did a lot of good out there in the world. So Charlie Munger, so sad to see you go, but we'll see what Buddy's going to end up doing over in Omaha.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think that maybe we can take an episode on that because I think that that's very hard, right? Like when you are getting into that late stage or your last stage of your life, and then you start seeing your passing out, right? Like, man, that would be devastating. But yeah, coming back to the Bitcoin, I think that that was kind of the news. We last week 45. So and is holding, which there is some rumors that who was also kind of having pressure of selling. It was FTX. He's not there anymore, selling Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoin. So that means that right now there is no big sellers, right? So which that's the reason why it continues to go up. Plus some of the good news that we have been having. So uh, I mean, Michael Saylor and El Salvador,
Yep.
they are right now
And
as well on the news, right? Making the tabloids.
Argentina, Milei, he's a big proponent of Bitcoin. Also, I think he's probably meeting with Bukele right now, saying, "Hey, how do we do this?" He's like he wants to get rid of their central bank over there because they're basically stealing the people's money through inflation, right? And they've
Hmm.
had some pretty strong inflation over there in Argentina. So he obviously sees it as an answer to how can we move off of central bank. So it'll be a pretty interesting case study actually to see what they can do in order to move away from this if he pull it off, right? Move away from the central bank type of setup and more into this global currency type using Bitcoin or more than likely Bitcoin, not any other crypto.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that we have a solid one, man.
Yeah, yeah. That's all that we've got for today. So just subscribe, comment. We really love to hear from you. And I also do want to do a shout out to Lauren and Henry. I think we got a couple new subscribers. We had a good time at the Christmas party. So hopefully y'all check us out and let us know what you want to hear about too. So anything you want to add there, Mondo?
No, it's like start getting ready for your posadas.
You'll hear about it probably next week. All right. Well, see y'all next time and keep doing it sin miedo. Bye, y'all.
Primero. Bye.